I paid for another jar.
Do you pull a gun on this one?
The story begins with Jack Bondurant driving through the countryside with his brothers, Forrest and Howard. Jack's voiceover explains that during the Prohibition era of the 1920s, when producing or selling alcohol was banned, the Bondurant brothers became some of the most successful bootleggers in Franklin County, Virginia. By 1931, even the local sheriff was one of their regular customers. The family had also grown to believe in their own myth of invincibility. Howard had miraculously lived after his entire battalion drowned at sea, while Forrest had beaten the Spanish flu. To them, it felt as if nothing could kill them. At the same time, America's cities were drowning in crime, with gangsters like Al Capone, Tommy Malloy, and Floyd Banner seizing wealth as easily as if it were candy lying on the streets. One evening, the brothers set out to deliver a shipment of liquor at a celebration site. Forrest instructs Jack to stay by the car and keep watch while he and Howard head inside. As Jack waits, a man confronts him with a knife, demanding his cash. Jack nervously insists he is only the driver. Just then, Forrest and Howard return. With calm authority, Forrest orders the man and his friends to leave, speaking in circles to distract them. Without warning, he smashes the man with brass knuckles, knocking him cold and scaring off the rest. Howard laughs at Jack's fright as the brothers drive off together. Later that night, they arrive at a local tavern to drop off the remaining liquor. There, Jack's attention is caught by Bertha Minix, the preacher's shy daughter. The next day at the Bondurant bar, Forrest interviews Maggie Buford, a former dancer from Chicago who is looking for a waitress position. Impressed, Forrest hires her without hesitation, and she quickly becomes part of their circle. Soon after, Jack witnesses mob boss Floyd Banner step out of his car wielding a Tommy gun, spraying bullets into a rival's vehicle and killing everyone inside. As Floyd calmly walks back to his car, he locks eyes with Jack. Excited by the encounter, Jack later shares the story with his disabled friend, Cricket Pate, even handing him one of the shell casings he picked up. With Cricket's help, the Bondurants begin using his home as a cover for their distillation operation, hiding their stills in the basement. But their business draws the attention of the law. Sheriff Hodges arrives with Special Agent Charlie Rakes, a ruthless enforcer working under District Attorney Mason Wardell. Rakes demands a cut of their profits in exchange for letting them operate freely. Forrest bluntly refuses, even threatening to kill Rakes if he dares return. Later that evening, Forrest rallies the other bootleggers, urging them to resist Rakes' shakedowns. Though determined at first, the others eventually bow to Rakes' brutality. Meanwhile, Jack continues chasing Bertha's attention. One day, after Howard mocks him, Jack storms off drunk and embarrasses himself at Bertha's church.
And the pride of life.
Her father forbids her from seeing him, but instead of driving her away, this only deepens her curiosity. She begins subtly encouraging Jack, despite her father's warnings. Rakes, growing more aggressive, turns his sights on Cricket's home, suspecting it as a front. During the raid, when Jack tries to intervene, Rakes finds nothing but unleashes his rage by beating Jack mercilessly with his pistol. As Jack gasps that his brothers will avenge him, Rakes sneers and continues pummeling him until he collapses unconscious. When Forrest finds out, he scolds Jack for not standing up for himself. Jack, disheartened, admits he isn't built like his brothers. Forrest responds that survival isn't about brute strength but about how far a man is willing to go. Not long after, 2 deputies show up with a warrant for Forrest. But the sight of him alone makes them hesitate. Before they can act, Howard storms in and viciously assaults them. He is seconds from pouring gasoline down one deputy's throat when Forrest intervenes to stop him. The next day, Forrest and Howard prepare for a meeting with clients from Chicago. Howard, however, never makes it, choosing to drink with friends instead. At the bar, the clients grow rowdy and harass Maggie, even pulling a gun on her. She manages to stab one in the hand with a knife. In response, Forrest beats them savagely with his brass knuckles until they flee. After Maggie tends to his wounds, he walks her to her car, and their bond deepens. But that night, tragedy strikes. The same men return, ambushing Forrest outside. They slash his throat and leave him bleeding in the snow. Sensing that something is terribly wrong, Maggie rushes back to the bar, only to be confronted and seized by the attackers. The following day, at the hospital, Howard and Jack visit Forrest, who, against all odds, has managed to survive his brutal injuries. The doctor tells them that Forrest somehow found the strength to walk to the hospital on his own that night. Still pale and weak, Forrest looks at Howard and quietly says that he should have been there. Later, Maggie visits Forrest and confides that she plans to leave. She explains that she came to Blackwater to escape dangerous men like those, but Forrest insists that none of it is her fault. He pleads with her to stay close to him and his brothers, assuring her that she will be safer with them if those men are still out there. Meanwhile, Jack sneaks into the hospital room and secretly takes the key to their liquor storage. Determined to prove himself and make a significant sale, he loads the car full of their moonshine and sets off for Chicago with Cricket. Partway through their trip, the car stalls, and Jack furiously discovers that Cricket forgot to fill up the gas tank. Thinking fast, Cricket pours some of their moonshine into the tank, and to their surprise, it works, allowing them to continue their journey. Upon arriving in Chicago, they meet with a client named Gummy Walsh, but things take a dark turn when they are double-crossed and ambushed by mobsters. The gang throws them into a freshly dug grave, preparing to execute them. Just as their fate seems sealed, mob boss Floyd Banner arrives. When Jack mentions that they're from Blackwater Station, Banner intervenes and spares their lives. To prove the quality of their liquor, Jack sets some of it on fire, impressing Banner, who agrees to purchase it for double the usual price. Banner also reveals that he already knows about the attack on Forrest and provides Jack with the address of the men responsible, warning him that they work for the ruthless lawmen, rakes. The next day, Jack and Cricket return to the bar, where Forrest and Howard are waiting. Before they can scold him for his reckless actions, Jack proudly boasts about the deal he struck with Banner and hands them the address of the attackers. Later, Jack visits Bertha, showing off his new camera and snapping her photograph. That night, when he returns home, he realizes that his brothers have left without him. Suspecting their plan, Jack drives to the address Banner provided and finds Forrest and Howard there, brutally torturing and killing the men who attacked Forrest. Afterward, Howard hands Jack a package and instructs him to deliver it to Rakes. The next day, Rakes opens the package and is horrified by its gruesome contents. With Banner now a regular client, the Bondurant brothers move their distillation operation deeper into the woods, and their bootlegging business flourishes, bringing in unprecedented profits. With his newfound wealth, Jack continues to court Bertha, while Forrest grows closer to Maggie, who moves into the bar for her own safety. One day, eager to impress Bertha, Jack takes her to see their hidden still in the woods. However, Rakes and his men, who have been secretly tailing her, ambush the group. A violent struggle ensues, during which Howard knocks Rakes unconscious, and Jack nearly kills him but hesitates. Overpowered by Rakes' men, they are forced to flee, leaving Bertha and Cricket behind. Later, Rakes captures Cricket and brutally murders him by snapping his neck. Devastated and enraged by Cricket's death, Jack decides to confront Rakes and his men at a roadblock on a local bridge. Howard follows him, rallying the other bootleggers to join the fight. Despite Maggie's desperate pleas for him to stay, Forrest also decides to go, and during this moment, Maggie finally confesses that she was the one who found him bleeding from his throat wound and took him to the hospital that night. Forrest realizes then that she must have been attacked too, though Maggie tearfully assures him that she was not violated. Soon after, a bloody shootout erupts on the bridge. During the chaos, Rakes shoots Forrest multiple times, leaving him gravely wounded. Jack, also injured, chases the fleeing Rakes onto the bridge and shoots him in the chest. Moments later, Howard finishes the job, stabbing Rakes with a large knife and leaving him to die. With Rakes and his men gone, the Bondurant brothers decide to walk away from bootlegging, choosing instead to save their earnings, knowing that Prohibition will soon end. In the years that follow, Jack marries Bertha, Forrest weds Maggie, and Howard settles down with a local woman, all of them starting families and leaving their violent past behind.
Doing nothing? How?